Bootleg podcasts, made for everyone, by anyone. You are listening to The Rating is Right, a game show podcast based around the films you love and their ratings. Think the price is right, with a lower budget, less Bruce, and no prizes. Introducing your host, Ian Crow.
It's the rating. It's the rating. Rating. It's the rating. It's the rating.
Hello and welcome to our third episode of The Rating is Right. So before I introduce my co-host, just let's explain how this is going to work. So quite simply, my co-host will be guessing the ratings of a series of films, including whether they are higher or lower than the previous one. They'll be getting 1 point for a correct guess of higher or lower, an additional point for whoever is closest, and a whopping 3 points for anyone lucky enough to guess the rating bang on. The current winner will guess first each round to give the other contestant an advantage and a chance to catch up. The winner at the end of the episode will have the honour and privilege of giving a recommendation of a film that takes their fancy. Now that's sorted, let's meet my co-host. He's the current winner and the kind of face that you'd expect on a missing person's milk bottle. It's George!
What does that even mean?
Basically, you've got the kind of face of someone who would be adopted as a kid, and you'd be on a milk carton in America.
I feel like that's a compliment, but just a really weird one.
Saying you're cute.
Yeah, I look cute.
Thanks. On the cue card, it says witty comment. I've gone with cute comment this week.
Okay, I like that. Let's see what you say for Owen.
And the other guy who just seems to show up. It's Owen.
Yeah, I'm here as well.
I was going to say the guy who just doesn't like to win, but I feel like that's a little bit harsh. That's only in our third episode. But how are you both?
Good, thank you. How are you, Mr. Host?
Oh, I'm good, thank you for asking. Do you know what? I never get asked how I am, so I really appreciate that. So, before we go any further, I am going to now announce what our kind of episode is based around. So, in our third episode today, we will be guessing the ratings of films based on video games.
Amazing! Fake surprise, because Ian ruined it before.
Look, George. Look, we're a team here. We're supposed to make each other look really good. Now, maybe look like a chump. Not a chump.
Yes, I apologize.
I'm doing my end.
I know.
I'm making George look good.
I know what I'm doing. You know. But
This is very fortunate though, because I did watch Uncharted for the first time yesterday, so I feel like I'm geared up to take the third victory in a row.
now, doing my research beforehand, I was quite surprised about how many films there are based on video games, going as far back as the very early 90s. So it has been kind of gone on quite a long time, but we're going to do a select few from the list, as there are too many. So we're going to do the normal 10 as we do on the list. So as it always starts, I will give you the first film, and then you just have to give me a guess of a number to start us off with. So the first film on the list is the 1993 film Super Mario Brothers.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that was the general reaction from a lot of people. I think,
Is that Bob Hoskin?
Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo both play Mario and Luigi. Less said about the film, the better, maybe. They don't look like Mario and Luigi in any way possible. They're not even in the outfits.
I've never seen it.
I think it's one of those films you could probably definitely miss, Owen.
Yeah,
you're not really missing a lot, to be honest. Let's just wait for the new one to come out.
You will have seen like screen grabs of like Bowser and the Koopa.
Yeah.
Like it just looks awful.
Isn't Chris Pratt Mario now?
Yeah.
They actually just released the first poster for the
I was
film
going to say,
the
yeah.
other day.
I saw it on Instagram yesterday.
Basically, I thought it was an announcement of a new game, but it's the film. So, so have a guess. Obviously, it goes from 0 to 100. George, as you are the current winner, you do get to go first because you have that advantage to give to Owen.
That's right, more pressure.
What do you think Super Mario Bros. Is rated on Metacritic? score.
I haven't seen this film in so long. Like, I feel like I saw it when I was below the age of 10, and I remember nothing about it apart from it being absolutely awful. And the little bits I've seen on Reddit since then of just people taking the piss out of it. So I'm going to go in very low with a 41.
41, okay.
41, because it must be shit across the board and everybody agrees.
Owen, you've got the opportunity to take advantage from the get-go. Also, you haven't seen the film, but do you know of anything about
I haven't.
it at all? Like the reception the film got, or how bad it is?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I do know, though, that has there ever been a successful video game to film Jump? I don't think
I
so.
suppose it all depends on what you... I think it all depends on what you define as successful. Whether it's like a true kind of like adaptation of a game to film, or has it made the studio lots of money?
Yeah, true. That's usually what deems
That's
success.
another thing.
I mean, look
Yeah.
at Blade Runner 2049. Brilliant film. Flopped at the box office.
Also not a video game.
Oh, yeah. Also not a video game. Just an example.
Just
Just
a
a
film.
film.
just
Just a film. Super Mario the film. Whose idea was that?
I think it was it's Buena Vista Pictures, so I'm pretty sure that is Walt Disney Studios.
Oh, God.
So it's technically a Disney movie.
How did they swing that?
I don't really know, but to be honest, of all the companies to kind of work together, you'd think that Nintendo and Disney would probably work well together.
I always see them as like kind of
Love
against each other, because it's like this like very kid friendly sort of thing against another kid friendly thing, when in reality they hate each other.
But Nintendo don't hate anyone.
They hate people that don't pay for their games, famously.
Yeah, they've got their own studio now, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Yeah,
Film studio.
Yeah, no one
Yeah.
can ruin their games anymore. Fingers
they
crossed.
can ruin
Yeah.
it themselves.
With their own money.
I'm going to hazard a guess and say that it was worse than what George has said it was. So what, George said 41%? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm fucking
41.
sick of George's smug face, to be honest, so I'm taking this week serious. There's not going to be any games this week. We're getting the tangents out the way early. Okay? 40%. Fuck you, George.
14. 14.
40.
It's 40.
So
4-0.
40 or 14?
4-0. I'm not that crazy. 14.
Oh, 4-0. 4-0. Okay, so maybe Owen getting a tangent out of the way is a good thing. He is the closest to the score. So he takes the early lead with the 2 points.
Not the count.
Super Mario Brothers is rated at 35, known to be a box office bomb and absolutely hated by critics.
And everybody else.
It's actually one of the
Sounds like something
one of
I'd
the
love.
lowest grossing. It's actually one of the lowest grossing video game adaptations, and it was the first to do it really. So it wasn't really a particularly good start. But that means for the first time, I feel like Owen's actually going to have to go first with the guessing of the ratings of
Stormed
films.
into the lead.
So Super Mario Bros. On 35. The next film on the list is the first Angelina Jolie Lara Croft Tomb Raider movie. Now, is that higher or lower than Super Mario Bros. On 35, Owen?
I was higher
Are you going higher?
for reasons we won't get into.
He was
when I first saw that
he was
film.
making an erection joke here.
I
I
thought
missed that completely.
I thought it was mainly about Daniel Craig's brilliant American accent in the film. Or is it in the second one? Am I getting...
Wait,
Was Daniel Craig in it?
Wait,
I was going to say, is Daniel Craig?
Daniel Craig is in one of the Lara Croft...
I didn't watch it for the plot.
I'm pretty sure... I'm going to search this. I'm pretty certain that Daniel Craig is in Lara Croft. He is.
Yeah, he is. He is in it.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
It's just very forgettable. Isn't he in it at the start where they have the training scene with the robot?
Yeah, he's in it like towards the end as well. I think he's in it quite a fair bit.
Hmm.
Bear in mind, this is...
Doesn't he start off as like a colleague and then he ends up as a villain in the end or
I
something like
think
that?
so, yeah. Bear in mind, this film's 2001, so this is pre kind of layer cake, James Bond, Road to Perdition, so kind of breaking through at the time. Terrible American accent, though. So...
Yes.
You're going higher, right?
He No, I think that was literally
Higher
just
than
his joke. I
40%?
mean, it has to be higher than 40, but
Oh right, okay, sorry, I get it.
I was waiting for you to ask me what 40, and I was waiting for you to do your hostarial duties.
waiting for the cue.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, what?
Yeah, I was waiting for Ian to bring me
what
in.
are your thoughts on
On
the film?
Lara
Yeah.
Croft or the film?
Well, both. If you really want to go into both, then you can tell a bit more about Lara Croft.
She's a strong female protagonist. It's a good film. It's a good game. The modern games are good as well. I'd say it's not very well thought of film, but I think the first one was like serviceable. I'd say about 55%.
55. Okay, right now.
So I'm going higher.
So he's going higher. 55. George, over to you. Do you think it's higher?
George looks
or lower?
angry.
He does. I think he's trying. Yeah, I feel like I can hear him thinking, and we're about 4 hours away from each other.
Yeah.
George is already. I feel like he's already in his position where he's like, "Crap, I'm behind."
I've never.
already."
I can't lose this. I didn't realize how much it meant to me until Owen took the lead. I think it's a very forgettable film, but there is a sequel, right? The Cradle of Life or something.
Cradle of Life, yeah.
So it must have done all right. It's not as good as the like reboot one that kind of matches the modern games. Like that's actually a good film.
Yeah.
I do think Owen's pretty spot on, but I need to go one way or the other. I'm going to go slightly higher than Owen, so still higher than mine, and I'm going to go 56. 56.
Ooh.
He's just copying my strategy now. Ian, take control of this podcast. You can't allow this to go on.
Look, I'm in full control, Owen. It's all okay. But it's okay because you're both wrong. You're both wrong. It's not higher. It's
What?
It's lower. It's on 33. It's 2 lower than Super Mario Brothers, which is
You're joking.
no.
How?
I'm not joking.
What?
Yeah.
That is blow. That's
Bear in mind, it got absolutely trashed, but it took $274 million at the global box office, and that is about 250 million more than Super Mario Brothers. So, obviously, like you said, George, it got the sequel. It did well financially, but the critics didn't seem to like it very much.
It has rewatchability though.
But you're both wrong, so no points. So that means that Owen is still in the lead, so he still takes
That's all right.
the lead going into this. So
8 rounds to
the
go.
next film on the list is, I don't know if many people have actually seen this, but I have once. It's Doom.
love this.
With The Rock.
With The Rock. Yeah.
Great film.
Well,
I'm the only one that thinks it's great, but great film.
it has one moment where it does the like the first person kind of camera.
Oh yeah, when it goes into first person.
Yeah.
It's like really bad CGI. Love it.
But I was like, this is
Like the new
this is like
Halo
the game.
TV show.
So this is great. But apart from that, it's not particularly great. But Owen, have you seen Doom?
Have I seen Doom?
Yeah.
I thought you said have I seen Dune. As I say, yeah, about 8 times.
It's a very different caliber of film.
Think I saw it once. Yeah, I think I've seen it once. I remember it. I remember what George just described with the first person scene. I do remember that. Is it me to guess first?
It is because you are still in the lead.
Look at George. George is so angry. George even likes going first.
I'm not a generous
Well, I'm
lover.
going to go...
I was about to say, George is only doing the one thing he's not used to doing is finishing second. So
That was a good one.
thank you.
I like this episode. This is the Pick on George episode.
I think it's about time.
I hate this
you know.
episode.
I love that Ian just isn't impartial at all.
So bear in mind, Owen, the last rating was 33. So is Doom
33.
higher or lower than 33?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember it like well enough to remember whether or not it was like really bad or just bad. I'm gonna go higher.
It's going higher, okay.
Ian, I'm gonna say that I think Doom is higher. I don't remember it that well. I know it was bad, but it's whether or not it was that bad. I'm gonna say higher, but not much higher. I'm gonna say 39%, Ian.
39. Obviously, you cannot see George's face right now, but he's He's struggling a little bit, I think.
He's sweating.
He's sweating.
I am sweating. I was going to say that. I'm annoyed.
Oh, and you've gone higher of 39. George, what are your thoughts on the film itself, and do you think it's higher or lower?
I really like it because it came out in the like young nerdy George phase before it became old nerdy George phase, and I was just like, yeah, it's really stupid but great. It's awfully acted. Everybody does a pretty bad job in it, but it was a really enjoyable film. So I know that everybody else pretty much hated it. I was going to go with 39, so I'm pretty gutted.
Oh, okay.
Of course you was.
I'm going to say it's higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still going to say it's higher.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm going to go...
What, higher than 39?
that's the thing. I don't think it's 40. It can't be that good. So I'm gonna go to 36.
Oh, okay. So you're both both right for being higher. This time, George was the closest. So you get the 2
Boom.
points. Owen, you get the 1. The actual rating for Doom is only 1 higher. It's 34. Still shocked at how low Lara Croft Tomb Raider has as a rating. Still shocked. But Doom...
You can't see this, but Ian's got a massive Lara Croft Tomb Raider poster behind him. He's actually taken down the Batman one, and it's...
Yeah, I've got the actual old game style with the triangle breasts.
Boobs.
That's my favourite Lara Croft. So
Tones.
let's move on to the next film, which is the first Resident Evil movie with Mila Jovovich, which obviously then spawned many sequels after. So is Resident Evil higher or lower than Doom on 34, Owen?
I don't think I've seen the first one. I think I've seen a few of them. I don't recall the first one though. Is it Mila Jovovich?
Mila Jovovich, yes. It's the one with the really famous scene with the lasers and the very bad CGI dogs. It's the only one I've actually seen.
Oh, yeah.
Michelle Rodriguez as well, if that helps.
Oh, it's terrible. Terrible. It's like walking in on your parents having sex.
I think
Awful.
It's
The worst thing you could possibly imagine. I'm going to say it is 100%. I'm going to say this with conviction. It is lower. I'm going to say, and I'm going to be bold here, just to get at George even more. Look at him. He's flapping around, waving his hands around on the screen for the listeners.
I think
it's
you're wrong.
irate.
Oh, okay. So
I'm saying, oh, you think I'm wrong?
I think you're wrong.
We'll see, George. We'll see. Not playing games this week, George. 26%, Ian.
26.
26, okay.
26%.
26. Okay.
Where's this percent?
I know, I
come
wasn't a
from?
challenge, but I thought I'd just
it's a
allow.
score out of 100.
I thought I'd just allow Owens to pretend it's actually Rotten Tomatoes, but we can officially change it if they want to sponsor us. We're open to switching. We'll become full Judas at that point. So Owens gone lower. George, over to you. Again, the pressure is on. Heat is on. What?
George looks like a rotten tomato.
That should be my witty comment. Have you seen this film, George? Have you seen it? Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Sin. I've seen it, and I've seen it many times. And like the first Resident Evil game I played on GameCube, I think. Used to stay up late playing it because we weren't supposed to. My stepdad would come in and turn it off, and then you'd just turn it straight back on and have somebody listen out for the door.
Would you shout at him, "You're not my real dad"?
Just so many times. He's a great guy. Shout out to Mick if he's listening. But I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's low. I don't think it's good by critic standards, but I don't think it's in the 20s. I'm just going to say higher, and I'm going to go up to... Oh, I don't even have to go that much higher. I'll still be closer, but I'm going to go to 42.
Wow,
So...
you must have some kind of tie-in with this film. Do you run like the subreddit for it or something as an admin?
I just think it's a really good... again, it's like a really dumb film, but it was a pretty Actually, no.
Sounds like you'd love it.
Now that I'm thinking about it,
Well,
I just run it through my head.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I think
actually.
you've actually remembered the movie because you should be kicking yourself. Owen is right with it being lower. So he takes the 2 points. So he takes a 5-2 lead.
Ooh.
Let me just read some...
5-2!
Let me just mention some
God.
some honourable mentions of reviews for Resident Evil. From the Chicago Tribune, it says it updates the zombie genre with an anti-corporate message while still scaring its audience. And someone also said, like other video game adaptations, Resident Evil is loud, violent, formulaic, and cheesy.
Oh, not only is George losing, now his feelings are hurt. You're insulting his favourite
apparently,
film.
not too sure how true this is, but apparently James Cameron said that Resident Evil was his biggest guilty pleasure. I've lost a little bit of respect for James Cameron. Moving on. So,
Is James Cameron the one who makes Avatar?
Yeah.
Says it
No,
all. It's got
I was thinking
taste.
James Cameron, the brickie down the road. Not the billionaire filmmaker, because his opinion does not matter. Quick recap of the scores. Owen is on 5, George is on 2. So, George...
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Say that again.
Oh, sorry, I'll just repeat that again
What's the
for
score?
you. Owen 5, George 2. So do you want to
I can see
Yeah, I
Owen's
had that.
erection from
I mean, I would say I can, but I can't see too much.
It's not that kind of podcast.
It's like a cocktail sausage. So I will get to go first this next one. So bear in mind, Resident Evil 33, the next film on the list, is another scary game adaptation with Silent Hill. So Owen, is that higher or lower than Resident Evil on 33?
Ooh, that's a rough one because Silent Hill's shit as well. There's a theme, isn't there? They're all shit.
They're all pretty bad. I mean,
Maybe that's
yeah.
Maybe that's what we should do from now on to give me more of an advantage. We should just do terrible film series. Can we do Harry Potter next?
That's gonna upset the listeners.
We'll get there eventually when we get to Harry Potter. That'll be an interesting episode. Are you drinking out of a jar?
No, it's just a nice,
You're drinking.
an ornate glass.
It looks like a miniature vase.
He's drinking a lot and he's breathing very heavily as well. Have you noticed, Ian?
I think it's because he's losing, Owen. I think that might be why.
I've never been this stressed
Oh,
in my life.
Okay, am I laying it on too thick for him? Am I coming too hard?
That's what she said.
Shall I give him a little break for a couple of rounds?
No, I think this is a great tactic you have at the moment, Owen, and it's working clearly. So
It is actually.
I know.
you found your groove. So
George is getting.
just keep doing what you're doing.
He's getting closer and closer to the screen as well. I've noticed him edging forward. He's got Amy in the corner of the room. He's got his audio out loud, and Amy's like googling scores and writing it on a whiteboard and holding it up for him in the
You're
corner.
both edging for different reasons. So, Owen, do you say
This is the After Dark episode.
it's an NSFW episode? Owen, you said you've watched this, haven't you?
Well, what is
Silent Hill.
it? Silent Hill. Okay. I watched my friend Kingston play this when I was a kid because I was too scared to play it myself. Do you remember Pyramid Head?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I think it's the
That-
only thing anybody remembers from Silent
I-
Hill, isn't it?
I don't think I could play it now. Even with it, I think outdated graphics are scarier than modern graphics, don't you think?
Why? Because you can't actually
'Cause
see
it's so-
anything.
Yeah, they're so unpredictable. Silent Hill.
Have you seen the film though?
I can't remember. These are the kind of films you only watch once, and they came out a long time ago.
I think they're
So-
made to be forgotten. They're not. They
Yeah.
don't particularly leave a very good taste in your mouth after you watch them. So I feel like I've seen these films, but I can't really tell you what happens too much.
I'm gonna say it was higher than. No. Oh, this is a difficult one. I'm gonna say it was lower than 33. I'm gonna say 30.
Okay, George,
Hmm.
getting silence. He's really thinking about it. So it's a refresh.
I'm
Getting serious now.
It-
really trying to think if I've actually seen the film or not.
It has Sean Bean in it, so that helps too.
I remember.
Does he die?
I mean, he must die.
Certain he dies. Pretty certain he
Yeah.
does. But again, I'm not too sure. I haven't seen this for a very, very long
When
time.
did this come out?
2001.
So maybe I haven't.
Oh no,
seen
sorry,
it.
not 2001. So what am I talking about? 2006.
Oh, maybe I have. There you go, chopping and changing. if it's what I'm remembering, it's
Mhm.
just like super misty. like all the time.
Yeah, that's the premise of Silent Hill, really. The whole is.
See, I never played the games.
Oh, you didn't play the game? Okay.
No, never.
Too scary, man.
Too scary, man.
And I'm a big pussy.
Sorry, gangsters.
Mhm.
So it's like, I didn't play it, man.
What was the last game score? Just refresh my brain.
33.
33. I think it's lower than 33.
Okay, what's your score?
That's convenient. Same as me.
George, Owen went for 30. So what are you thinking?
I think it's lower than that. I'm going to 22.
22.
Ooh,
Is that locked in?
I think it was an awful, like, in my head, I must have seen it, and it's so forgettable, and there was never another mention of a Silent Hill film as far as I'm aware, unless there's some weird straight to DVD bullshit that's come out since.
There has been a sequel for Silent Hill since.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's called Silent Hill Revelation, I believe. Silent Hill Revelation, which is 2012, so there has been another one since. But one of you is only one off, so very, very close, and it is Owen.
Fuck!
Silent Hill's on 31, so Owen only one off of 30, so that means Owen gets the 2 points, he's on 7, George gets the 1 for being right a bit lower, he's on 3. So Owen with a 4-point lead at the moment, so...
Owen top, George bottom, just how I like
it. So we're halfway through, still plenty of time to come back, George, don't worry. So the next film on the list is the first Hitman movie starring Timothy Olyphant. Is that higher or lower than Silent Hill on 31, Owen?
Oh, we're getting through some right shit in this episode, aren't we? It's another one I haven't seen.
I haven't watched this, so I actually...
Is it not Jason Statham?
No, it's a transporter. It's very similar.
Very similar,
Different bald person.
I said it's got Jason Statham or Vin Diesel all over it, hasn't it?
I think it's Timothy Olyphant. It's the one person you probably wouldn't expect to play Agent 47, but clearly...
and when you watch the film, like, it's just confirmed that he never should have played Agent 47.
I feel like I kind of want to watch this now. I'm kind of intrigued by it, but I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on the film further. Owen, your thoughts on the film in general and your score?
I haven't really thought about it. I've just been wallowing in the current lead. I'm just embracing it and breathing it in. I'm making the most of actually winning an episode for once. I don't want it to end. I'm going to go on many tangents from here till the end.
George has got the face of someone who's just seen their dog die. Like, he's so depressed. He's so upset right now.
I'm loving it. It's really, really doing it for me, to be honest. This has given me conviction to try harder in every episode. George veils his rage with smiles. Like, he's been so smiley since he went behind. Since round one, he hasn't stopped smiling.
It's because I'm a teacher. Like, they piss you off all day, you just smile at them. It just gets bigger and more angry. That's what this is.
Repressed feelings.
This is babysitting all over again.
My long-term aim is to one day get George to quit before we make it to the end.
What, actually forfeit? It's like, no. Just call it.
Yeah, I want him to forfeit.
Oh,
that would be a more juicier victory.
Just, I'm out.
Me and Owen will just continue to record podcasts, but they'll never be edited or released.
Right, more shit. Hitman. Shit films, shit games. Let's not get into it. I'm saying that the last one was 30%, right? 31. I'm saying it's lower. I'm saying 29, and I'm not saying percent this time, just 29.
So 29, so you've gone lower. George, this is a big turning point now, halfway through. This is the time to get the points. Your thoughts on it?
Again, it was one of those, like, you watch it once and you switch it off and you forget it ever happened, but then you kind of forget how bad it is. But, like, I really liked Timothy Olyphant. I think he's great in everything he does, and I think it was a waste to be Agent 47, which is, like, the most monotone, boring character, like, such a non-character, and that's kind of the point, and they gave it to old Timothy. Who's got, like,
all the charisma, looks, charm. Like,
it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I did, I do remember it. It's not great. Oh, I need to be tactical though, so I have to go higher.
He's going higher. So remember,
going
Silent
higher.
Hill's on 31, so you're thinking
Yeah.
higher. What's your guess on the score?
I think 34.
34.
I'm higher, still not high, still not good. Widely panned, but yeah, higher than 31.
Perfect. Okay, so one of you again is only one out, and the other person is incorrect. So Owen, you are incorrect for it being lower. George, you are only one out. That means you get the 2 points. So it takes up to 7-5 to Owen. The actual score itself for Hitman was 35. So this is the 2007 Hitman movie. Although it wasn't kind of really well received, it actually was a financial success. It made more than double of its budget in money, so it did quite well that way. But I don't think it was particularly obviously popular. After it took quite a long time for them to then reboot it itself.
Yeah.
A lot of people said that they thought it had a weak and often confusing plot, dry acting, and extreme violence. I suppose that's kind of what you expect from a Hitman game. And Time in 2008 listed the film in their top 10 worst video games movies ever. So that kind of says a lot about the film itself.
Illustrious list.
Before we move on,
Yes.
Owen, did you say that the Hitman games are boring?
Yeah, I've never really been that into them.
Oh, they're actually pretty good.
I've only played one, and I've never really been inclined to go back.
I played Blood Money, which was a really good one.
I think they're terrible, and people who enjoy them are bad at quizzes.
Well, look, I've heard Blood Money is the best Hitman, so
it is really good.
Yeah,
the newest one, like the one where it's just like loads of different stories and they keep updating it and things like that. Apparently, that's quite good.
There's too many to keep up with.
It's just the same concept, effectively. What can you really change apart from what kind of assassinations you do?
Says the person who loves Football Manager and FIFA.
Hey.
And Lawnmower Simulator.
This is 2 years in a row I've not bought FIFA. 2 years in a row.
I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
But also the 4th year in a row I've bought FM, or 5th year in a row. So, yeah, I am playing Lawnmower Simulator. Get over it. It's a great game. So let's move on from that because that's slightly embarrassing. Hitman on 35. So the next film on the list is the fairly recent Need for Speed movie starring Aaron Paul. So Owen, you are still in the lead just by 2 points, so you get to go first. So is Need for Speed higher than Hitman on 35?
Yes, it is. I like this film. I saw this at cinema. Do you remember the rampant marketing for this film? Because of Aaron Paul off the back of Breaking Bad?
Yeah, well, I thought, because at the time I was working at Odeon and we did a midnight staff screening.
I love an Ian cinema story.
Yeah, we did a...
Sorry, go on. I was just settling in.
Get your popcorn out. We did a midnight staff screening, so I actually saw this film before it came out, technically, by a couple of days. Yeah, I wasn't particularly pleased. Kind of overacting in what should just be like a very basic car racing movie. But yeah, came off the back of Aaron Paul's success in Breaking Bad. Just goes to show you can't really do anything else apart from Breaking Bad. Anyway, Owen, you said that you watched this at the cinema. Did you enjoy it? More than I did?
I think I enjoyed it at the time. I kind of agree with what you've said there, though, with the overacting. They should have just ripped off Fast and Furious. It should have just been cheesy shit with fast cars. But they didn't follow the formula, did they? They tried to make it like a serious drama. Was it like a heist film in the end? Didn't they have to do a heist, from what I remember? Sorry, Ian, I was waiting for you to chime in then.
No, I was waiting for you to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of like a heist movie, but it doesn't really kind of pull off. Thing is, though, it's got such a big cast. It's got Imogen Poots, Dominic Cooper, Rami Malek, Oscar winner, Dakota Johnson, Kid Cudi, Michael Keaton is in this movie. Like, there's so many.
Michael Keaton is in this movie.
Is in this movie. Like, do I need to say more? I forgot that Michael Keaton was in it at all. I just read over my notes again. But yeah, kind of a lot of overacting it for what it is, really, to be honest.
Sorry to create another off-topic subject, but did you say a staff screening? Is that a thing?
Ian Cinema Stories. Yeah, so, what we used to do is, back in the day before I joined, obviously, films used to come on prints as opposed to digital copies. So, they used to do staff like screenings to see if the print was in good condition and not broken. So they check the print. Like, it's all good. It can be shown.
It's like a free trial.
Yeah. So we used to do that with the digital films. Once because they had like a digital lock on the films. It's called like a KDM, and the company would put like an actual lock on it, and it won't unlock to watch the film until a certain time. And a lot of the time, it was midnight or 1 minute past on the day it's coming out. So technically, we could do a midnight screening for the staff at midnight. We used to do like put money towards charity and stuff, so we kind of had a good reason to do it. Also, just to make sure the film worked, even though it's digital, it was always going to work. Yeah, so we did quite a lot of those.
Okay, good insight for the listener. Ian's Cinema Corner.
I've got a lot of cinema stories. I'm sure more will come out in the future. So
We should create a jingle for every time you tell us a story about when you worked at the cinema, I think, and you should do one an
Ian's
episode.
cinema stories.
I find it quite interesting to know what goes on behind the scenes.
I'm gonna single out that bit of audio, and it's gonna come back every time. I'm actually gonna go back into old episodes and drop it in.
I'm gonna say that was definitely in pitch and in tune. But Owen, you said you didn't mind Need for Speed. So what are your thoughts on it, on the actual rating itself for it? Do you think it's higher than 35 or lower?
41%.
40 again. He's going for the percent, but yeah. So Owen's gone higher, 41. George, all over to you, mate.
Oh.
I think you should go higher.
Now, I honestly can't remember seeing this film, but when you were listing off who was in it, I was like, oh, actually, no, maybe I have seen this, because I remember all of these faces being together. But
on a poster.
Must have just...
Thinking that
Yeah,
could be a good movie, right?
But it clearly is just shit. So I think it is... Oh, I need to take a gamble to try and beat it. I'm gonna go lower.
Go on, gamble.
He's going lower. I was just about to say,
Really?
I'm really enjoying watching Owen at the moment. He's just lounged on his bed. He's
reclining.
he's loving this tonight.
He might
I'm
as
like
well
Rose
be...
in Titanic.
Zuki might as well be off screen just feeding him grapes as he's...
I think you're making a mistake, George.
I think
Not to ruin your moment and intervene, but I think you're making a mistake there. I think you should change your score.
I am gonna stick with lower.
Okay. What are you going with?
You sure?
I'm gonna yes, I'm sure. This is my gamble. This is my moment. I'm gonna go 34.
34, so just lower.
Because it takes a really shit film for me not to have seen it.
Okay. Well,
so on that basis,
George, you are incorrect. It's not lower.
Again.
Need for Speed is on 39. So Owen gets the 2 points and takes a 9-5 lead.
Thank you.
Just to, if there are many Need for Speed fans of the film, I will find some excerpts of some positive and negative reviews for Need for Speed, just to make it balanced. Time magazine Richard Corliss said, "This is cinema reduced or distilled to its purest definition of movies that move." But quite simply,
Nice.
James Bernardelli from Real Views said, "This movie is a complete bore." So he got straight to the point with it. Alex Papademas, that's a great name for Grantland. I have no idea what that is. Apparently he's a top critic though. There's nothing here you haven't seen before. Really insightful. Thanks, Alex. But moving on. So this is a quick recap again. Owen's on 9, George's on 5. So again, Owen, you get to go first. The next film on the list is a film I also watched at the cinema. It's Warcraft. Now, is that higher or lower than Need for Speed on 39?
Oh, I'm feeling like Dolly Parton. 9 to 5, George. 9 to 5.
terrible.
Shit little joke for you to start this round off.
Yeah.
What round are we in?
This is the third from last film on the list.
Oh, George's face just dropped. With his first loss. I think I've not only won this episode, I've won the mental battle as well.
I
of
mean,
this episode.
I just want to point out though. Remember, no one has done this so far. If you do get it spot on, you do get 3 points. So
Ooh,
that can change things very, very quickly. Well, either side. But Warcraft, I've never played this game,
Neither have I.
but I've watched the film, so I had absolutely no idea what was going on.
How was the film?
Well, I had no idea what was going on. It was really boring, but I watched it with someone who had.
What would you have give it if you were to?
I did originally review it back in the day on my old film website, but I'm not going to tell you what I gave it. But I don't. My
I'm going to say higher anyway.
Towards Metascore, but you're going higher than 39, are you?
Yeah.
Right, what?
I'm going 44.
44. Okay, so
I haven't seen it.
he got straight to it then. George, have you seen Warcraft?
Yeah,
Oh,
seen
yeah.
it, never played the game.
Okay.
It seems like the type of nerdy, sweaty game that I would have played, but no.
I remember rightly that the film itself actually leads up to like potential more movies. They wanted to do more. Did you enjoy it at least? Like, did you think...
I hated it.
You hated it? Yeah, you were the one who fully hated it.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but I was just like, I came out of it like mad. Like I wasn't a fan of the game series or anything like that, and yet I came out like, what a waste of my time and money.
It's so disappointing because I remember seeing the trailers for it and I thought that's really either going to go one way or the other. It's either going to be one of the first kind of video game adaptation movies that could actually be quite good, or it's going to be one of the worst. But Owen's gone lower. George, again, big moment for you, mate. What are your thoughts? Higher or lower than 39?
What did Owen go with?
He went to 44. So he went.
He went higher.
He went
higher. I went higher.
44.
That's like the sweet
Got a
spot.
pirate on the podcast. George's sleeves keep getting higher and higher each round. Like, every time I see his arms, his sleeves are higher.
He's going to be wearing a vest in a moment.
I feel like I'm so focused on the fact that I'm losing that I can't think of anything. Like, Owen could literally say any number and I'll be like, damn, that's what I was going to say.
He's so flustered. I'm not used to this, Owen. Yeah, he's normally
he's not took his hands off his head.
He's always like, I know the number. I just know the number. I'm going to get the 3 points every time. But now he's like, oh, fucking, I don't know. What's a movie?
I've done a Jose Mourinho on him. I'm in his head.
You are literally on his head. He's Arsene Wenger, and you're like Jose Mourinho, prime Premier League games.
I've gone too easy on him.
You have a little bit
in previous episodes. I think this episode I've really rattled him.
Yeah,
you found the formula.
It's fine. Next episode, I'll know what to expect, and it'll be fine.
George,
that's what Arsene used to say before he became a specialist in failure. Like you're going to become too.
Look, George. The games are over. You could end up doing a 3 FA Cups in 4 years, like Arsene Wenger did. You know, you can get that back, some dignity back.
So Owen said 41.
44 higher.
You should go higher, George.
I'm gonna go higher, but then the last score not higher than Owen. What did he say again?
44.
George can't even breathe. He's choking up.
I feel like George is so out of control. He's the Owen of this episode so far.
I know. My brain is switched off.
He's lost the plot.
No, you know what? Fuck you, Owen. I'm going 43.
43.
He's getting desperate now.
Okay, right. So George, you fell into Owen's trap. It's not higher. It's actually lower. The rating for Warcraft is 32. So it's actually quite a bit lower. Warcraft itself, though, it came out in 2016. Took $439 million. So it's actually one of the highest grossing video game adaptation movies at the time.
I'm just praying. Sorry to interrupt.
I'm not praying.
Was he praying?
He's praying. He's praying.
Well, again, it's still not too late. I'm trying to find a positive review for Warcraft. It's quite difficult to find one. Right, okay, I found one. Brian Eggert from Deep Focus Review said, Doug Jones, director of Warcraft, the son of David Bowie, has made Warcraft into a film that kept my attention and left me hungry for more. Unfortunately, Brian, you're going to go hungry. There are no more Warcraft movies
It's
coming.
starving.
Someone said, this is basically a 2-hour battle between humans and orcs, one that owes the Lord of the Rings franchise and the television series Game of Thrones. A lot of sentimental hogwash about fathers and sons heading off to war. Let's find another positive one. From Faris Laxon from Nerdophiles. It is immensely fun to watch if you suspend your disbelief at the door and open yourself up to a completely new mythos and adventure. There we go. Bit of balance.
So mixed then, quite mixed reviews.
Well, I mean, it took me quite a while to find some positive ones. A lot of them were fairly negative.
Okay.
I had to kind of scroll down quite a fair bit. So going into the penultimate round, scores stay the same. Owen 9, George on 5. So for the penultimate film, it is Detective Pikachu. So, Owen, is that higher or lower than Warcraft on 32?
I saw this film. I watched this. This is one I've actually seen quite recently. It's a good film, but it completely falls to pieces in the third act.
It does, yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I didn't.
Have you seen it,
Didn't
George?
see it at the cinema. I watched it at home,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm really enjoying this. At
Yeah,
the start,
same.
it just loses itself a little bit.
Yeah, but I do think critically, I think it would have been received well. I think this was one of the first films where critics said a video game to film can actually be successful. I remember at the time it was quite common not common, but there was a lot of talk of they've actually finally nailed the transition from video game to film.
I think what kind of works for Detective Pikachu is that the story itself of the film isn't really like a translation from a game at all. It's kind of taking characters from a game but making kind of like an original story a little bit from it. I think that's kind of the reason why it works. But also, Ryan Reynolds somehow voices a really good Pikachu. So there's quite a lot of pros for the film. I really liked it. Personally,
I liked it, but like I said, I thought the end was quite cluttered.
Mm.
Thought it was the ending was quite rushed and just a lot going on, a lot of colour and a lot of CGI. But I think overall, I'm going to say higher, 59%, George. What do you think?
George's face. Look, if anyone could actually see our faces right now, you wouldn't think that we're talking about Detective Pikachu. You'd think we're talking about Schindler's List or something.
Yeah.
But we are talking about Detective Pikachu right now.
George is in despair right now.
He is.
Yeah.
He's completely thrown off.
I know. I just don't know where to go anymore. I'm just gonna turn off my mic and go to bed. Just call it a
Owen,
day.
are we going to start calling him Bottle Job George? Is that what the nickname?
Bottle Job George?
Bottle Job
I think-
George.
My recommendation when I win is going to be for George to watch a Tottenham game.
No, I'm pretty certain George's family all support Tottenham, so I think their family.
They do all support.
I feel like that's finally rubbing off on George. So that
it's
Tottenham's
part of his
failure.
genes.
So many
His
football
DNA.
references for a film podcast.
Look.
I thought this was a safe space
There's
for
people.
me to exist.
There's people out of the 4 or 5, I hope, that listen to this podcast that like football that will understand some of these references.
This episode is going to get flagged for bullying.
We need to set up
Just know that.
need to set up a George bullying helpline. If you've been disturbed by the events of this podcast, feel free to
Email the account, which is run by George.
yeah. Send me your sympathy. Okay. So Owen
Don't
went
feel sorry for him.
59.
He's very smug in victory.
Yeah, I do kind of have this coming.
So
Owen said 59.
are in high on 59. Yeah.
Cool. I think it is.
It could be
as well.
higher though. It could be higher. I think it could be higher, George.
Stop
Just
with
my
your,
input.
Stop with your mind games. I agree with what Owen said. Good film, enjoyed it, and then the end, like, just jumped off a cliff.
Just like your performance in this podcast, George.
I didn't even start well though.
No, you've been behind the whole time so far.
Yeah, I've always been in the sea, smashing against the rocks. It can't be higher than 59. It's not 60. So I'm going to say higher, but I'm going to go with 50. I'm going to go 56. 56. There we go.
56. So you are both correct with it being higher. George, you are the closest, so you get the 2 points. Close the 4-point gap to 3 points. So Owen's on 10, George is on 7. Detective Pikachu rated 53, so the highest one that we've had so far on the podcast. It did extremely well, as you probably would imagine. One of the highest rated, but also took some of the biggest money as well on $433 million. So it took lots of money. Is
there going to be a sequel?
I don't actually know if there's any kind of confirmation if there is or not. But I would be very surprised if there wasn't a sequel. But Ryan Reynolds is a very busy man these days. So Deadpool 3 incoming and running Wrexham. Just go with some quick reviews from some people. A lot very positive. Mark Commode, who is normally fairly harsh, said pretty well done. And when it got to the end, the bits that are meant to tug on your heartstrings twitched the very top register. Not too sure what that really kind of means. Someone said Pokemon Detective Pikachu ultimately exists to perpetuate the media empire, and to that end, it's less interested in characters than in selling its brand to children. You're not kind of wrong there, Brian. Lonita said a really great, well-executed movie. I mean, kind of right, kind of wrong. Someone said kids who don't know any better will probably like it. The parents who are stuck taking them are in for a slog. I thought I said snog at first. That says slog. So going into the last round, it's still possible for George to tie in the last round. So Owen cannot lose.
He has to get it bang on, though, right?
Has to get it bang on, and Owen has to get it wrong. So going into the last film, Sonic the Hedgehog, is that higher or lower than Detective Pikachu on 53? Owen, you are first again.
I am going to let George go first. I've just had to unmute myself because I could not stop laughing looking at George throughout you reading the reviews for Detective Pikachu. He looked furious. He looked so angry. He was frozen in like this perpetual state of like, he looked like he was just in complete despair.
What I was doing was thinking of every video game film adaptation that there has been, being like, right, what would I say if this came up? What would I say if this came up?
Can we see your hands for the rest of the podcast? Because your hands have been out of sight for a while, and I think you were frantically Googling.
No, my phone is away. I learned my lesson from the trial episode when my phone went off.
I think what he was searching
Oh my God.
he was searching on Google how not to be a loser.
George is about to lose to a
no
self-confessed moron.
But unfortunately, Owen, you do have to go first. It's the rules of the game.
Well,
I feel like advantage.
I feel like Owen doesn't want to go first because he's slightly feeling the pressure that he has to at least get it right if it's higher or lower.
higher.
You're going higher?
Higher.
Okay.
There you go. There's your pressure. 63 and not percent. George, you're up.
Oh, actually, just before you do go to George, have you watched Sonic the Hedgehog, Owen?
I watched it really drunk one night when I got in from Bath in a hotel room.
I actually quite liked it, you know.
It's quite good.
I'm so
Yeah,
glad
I'd
they
say
changed the
63.
CGI of Sonic's face because that would have been a constant nightmare in my head.
Yeah. Did you see that was it like that Chip and Dale thing? They had ugly Sonic appear.
Yeah, I heard that movie's actually really good, so I do need to watch that at some point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's got amazing reviews. Yeah, it's supposed to be like one of the best animated movies in recent times. So, so shout out to Chip and Dale, but I've not seen it. So,
What's Chip and Dale?
Chip and Dale is like are they raccoons? Or no, they're like
they're chipmunks.
They're chipmunks. Sorry, they're chipmunks. It's like an American thing, Disney animated movie. But Owen, you went higher. Just remind me of the number you went with again.
63.
63, so that'll be the highest we've got so far. George, thoughts on Sonic? Is that higher or lower than Detective Pikachu on 53?
I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It took me ages to watch it though. Like I didn't watch it until it was long on Netflix, and I
Didn't it nearly win an Oscar? Because it was the only film that came out before COVID won, and then we had no films for the whole year.
I don't know if it won an Oscar. I don't think it did.
Surely it kind of. I think he said nearly won.
Oh,
Oscar,
nearly.
Nearly.
Oh, so you mean like nominated, right?
Yeah, it was like there was so little few films between then and the Oscars
Right.
that they kind of
they were like, we've got no choice. Let's do.
Yeah.
Let's have a quick look.
By default.
You two, George, you keep talking. I will find out whether it was close to winning an Oscar.
Okay.
That's a weird thing to search. Did Sonic the Hedgehog nearly win an Oscar?
But I really like it. I really like Ben Schwartz as a general comedian, and everything that he does is pretty good. I do think it's higher. I think Owen's a mug by going into the 60s. We're never getting into the 60s with video game adaptations. I think, it's higher than...
Big talk for a man who's losing.
Yeah. I think it is a 50. Now I'm torn between 57 and 58.
Too low.
No, it's not. I think it is 50... I think it's 58. 58, Ian.
Okay. Well, you're both incorrect. You fell for Owen. You fell for Owen's trap again. It's actually lower on.
Doesn't matter.
On 47. But before we go into celebratory mode, Sonic the Hedgehog was not close to winning the Oscar. Maybe if Owen was the head of the Academy, I think June would just win Oscars in every single category for every year until the sequel comes out.
Yeah.
So with all that being, Owen, you are the winner of episode 3. Congratulations.
How?
Are you going to congratulate me, George?
No.
Oh, he's so bitter.
I just don't understand how this has happened. Especially given that you haven't seen most of the films mentioned in today's episode.
I'm going to say, I don't think Owen's been particularly good today. I just think, George, you've been extremely poor today. You, for some reason, you've been rattled by Owen.
I know. It's been
You've
a
been-
lot.
I don't know how. It was that first film that we did. And then he got the lead, and Owen didn't lose the lead the whole time. So just to recap the final score, Owen on 10, George on 7. So only 3 points.
I'm going to get that on a plaque.
My lead in the previous episodes has been greater.
Yeah, I was about to
Both
say,
times.
you have scored
You're
higher.
only as good as your last result. You're only as good as your last result. We all know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
This is because we normally record on the Tuesday, but today we're recording on a Thursday. It's just too late in the week.
He's
I've switched
overanalyzing.
off.
He is Arsene Wenger. He's Arsene Wenger. Scott.
he's blaming the fixture pile-up list, There's too many...
He's going to blame the rain in a minute. He's going to say the rain hitting the window distracted him.
So, Owen, as the winner, this is the first time as your winner, you get to give me and George, but also the listeners, a film recommendation. So, any film of choice that you feel like people should watch.
Does it have to be a film?
Yes.
It's a film
Wait, it
podcast.
has to be a film.
You're not going to watch a book, are you?
Well, mine's more of an audio experience.
What?
Is it the June audiobook?
No, it's George editing this podcast. There's your recommendation. Enjoy, George. Enjoy reliving this.
I don't know if you guys know who Nicholas Winding Refn is, the director of Drive and Bronson.
Yeah.
So after he made Drive, he did Only God Forgives, which ended up being an absolute disaster. And then his wife did a documentary on him, on his struggles of coming from an absolute success like Drive and going into failing miserably with Only God Forgives. I feel like there should be a very similar documentary filming George going around his daily life after going from the 2 wins and then losing to Owen. Which also I feel like it makes it more special for Owen as well, because you're both big gamers as well. So
Yeah.
I
It's
feel
all
like
downhill
it just
from.
rubs it
It's
in
all downhill from now.
you rub salt into the wounds a little bit more because they are video game based movies. So,
Yeah.
but thank you for that.
But it's fine. There are so many video game adaptations that we're going to come back to this, and I'm going to do my fucking homework, and I'm going to wipe the floor with you.
Very possible we could do a part 2.
He's going
in the
stir
future.
crazy.
But yeah, that's a great recommendation. Watching George edit his podcast. It could be a few.
Do you know what else is going to be good?
What's that?
When we discuss the filming of the next episode, I reckon George is going to want to do it tomorrow, just so he can not have to live a whole week knowing he lost the previous episode.
Well, I mean, I am free, so if you want to get down and record again, I can get around to doing that. But congratulations, Owen. Commiserations, George. That has been episode 3 of The Rating Is Right. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we hope to see you soon. See you later.
Bye.
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 It's the rating. It's the rating. It's the rating. It's the rating.
The Rating is Right podcast is hosted by Ian Crow and co-hosted by George Robinson and Owen Cox. The show is edited by George Robinson. You can find the podcast on Instagram under the handle The Rating is Right, or you can contact the hosts on their email address, theratingisright@gmail.com, if you have any suggestions or want to discuss your thoughts from previous episodes. Thanks for listening.